President Bola Tinubu, 2 years are gone. Half of your constitutional mandate spent navigating the stormy waters of reform, resistance, and rising hardship. You came to office promising a renewed hope agenda, telling Nigerians that the pain would be temporary, like that of a childbirth, and that joy would follow. But 2 years in, the cries have grown perhaps louder, and many now wonder, when will the joy come? Inflation surged, food inflation went to an all-time height, transport costs were tripled, and the average Nigerian now spends more of their income just to eat, as if they are lucky. Petrol is hovering over 700 naira per litre, and electricity tariffs have risen even as supply is still very erratic. And yet, the Nigerian people, resilient, loyal, enduring, have held on. But holding on cannot be the national plan. You promised to lift millions out of poverty, create thousands of digital jobs in 24 months, and double power generation. These were not poetic aspirations. They were campaign commitments. Mr. President, time is not on your side. You are just 12 months before the political season begins to whisper again. If ever there was a time to show the fruits of sacrifice, it is now. You are the president of both your lovers and your loudest critics, the hopefuls who sang your name at the polls and the skeptics who prayed you will fail. But leadership demands maturity of mind and empathy of heart. You now preside over a fractured but hopeful nation. Good people, bad politics, and an ugly economy. Nigeria today is at a historic inflection point. Mismanage these opportunities, sir, and we risk descending into a cycle of unrest, disillusionment, and regret. But if you rise, Mr. President, to the moment, and you could become a defining leader, one whose name is etched in gold as the man who brought Nigeria back from the brink, you must ignore circumstance, who clap in darkness while citizens cry in daylight. Mr. President, please urgently surround yourself with thinkers, doers, and patriots, not just loyalists. Every day must count. Every decision must deliver value. Because when a nation suffers this deeply, there is no luxury of time or ego. No more excuses. President Bola Tinubu, we in the media, we will do our own part. We will question, probe, inform, and hold you accountable, not out of hostility, but out of duty. The opposition must also rise, not just to criticize, but to push this country forward. Civil society organization must now organize, awaken consciences, and be the voice of the voiceless, and our people must now stop being docile. We need to raise a mass of active citizens who are willing to fight for their nation and also work hard for its good. Citizens, your voice counts. Don't lose it. And for those of us who believe and who are people of faith, we will pray as scripture commands us for the peace of the land and the success of its leaders. Because President Bola Tinubu, your success is Nigeria's success, and your failure will be our shared tragedy. Nigerians will rally behind you if they see sincerity, action, and result. But never forget, fury awaits any leader who mocks the pain of the poor. Sir, history is watching, posterity is watching, and 200 million Nigerians are watching. Let this second half of your presidency be a turning point. Make us proud, President Bola Tinubu. Make Nigeria great. And that has to start now. That's my final word tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching.
That was fierce, and I must give kudos to him for standing by the truth, for speaking up, for speaking loud. At least his voice is loud. As a journalist, this is what you ought to do. You speak truth to power, because the journalists have the opportunity to understand the pulse and the surface of the people. They have the opportunity to criticize the government. This is what journalists ought to be doing in this country, not going behind to collect envelope from the president of the day and siding with the president ahead of the plight and sufferings of Nigerians. Seun has just critiqued the president 2 years in office, but the truth is you cannot give what you don't have. Asking the president to use the remaining 2 years of his administration to do the right thing is just like you trying to pluck the star from the sky with your bare hands. It's impossible. Just like Mr. P2B said, Bola Tinubu has fulfilled of his promise. Everything he has done so far is what he promised that he is going to do. The hardship that Nigerians are experiencing is what Bola Tinubu promised them. He said that he's going to reduce their purchasing power. He's going to slow down the economy. This is what he said. He clearly stated it. And Nigerians voted for him. And this is what is happening. The economy has been slowed down. The purchasing power of the people has been greatly reduced. The so-called policies and reform of the president are anti-people's policies. They are not geared towards alleviating the pains of the people. They are geared towards making the president more richer. They are geared towards making the rich more richer. One of the most glaring failures of Bola Tinubu administration has been his inability to curb inflation, which has reached levels not seen in nearly 3 decades. By December 2024, Nigerians' headline inflation rate has surged to 34.8%. This was driven largely by food inflation exceeding 40%, We all know that this inflation is just what the government wants us to know, just what the government has given to us. Nigeria inflation is over 100%. The prices of food items in the market did not rise by 34%. They rose by over 200%. Before Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over as president, a painter of garri was being sold for 600-700 naira. Today, a painter of garri is being sold for 3,200 naira. The increase in the price of a painter of garri under Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has reached a record 357% in just 2 years. The price of a bag of rice rose from 30,000 naira in May 2023 to 110,000 naira in 2025. That is over 233% increase. Coupled with the increase of price of commodities was followed by the abrupt removal of fuel subsidies. Nigerians saw the price of fuel rose from 160 naira to 700 naira on the day of the inauguration of the president, and it was subsequently being increased to 1,400 naira. That's a 775% increase. We saw the naira being exchanged from 400 naira to 1,700 naira. That is a 325% increase. These are unbearable policies that have led to unbearable pains, hunger, and poverty on Nigerians. The reason for the formation of government is to ameliorate the sufferings of the people. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu coming to power has increased the sufferings and pains of Nigerians. The high cost of living has pushed millions of Nigerians deeper into poverty, with over 129 million Nigerians, more than half the population, living below the poverty line by 2024, according to the World Bank. The removal of fuel and electricity subsidies, coupled with the currency devaluation, has eroded purchasing power, rendering the recent minimum wage increase from 30,000 to 70,000 largely ineffective. For example, the minimum wage, worth $84 in 2019, was equivalent to just $20 by 2024 due to the naira's free fall. Insecurity remains a persistent challenge under Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, which has undermined economic stability and increased poverty. Nigerians are being killed and kidnapped on a daily basis. The people in the Middle Belt have suffered untold hardship in the hands of criminals masquerading as Fulani herdsmen. They have been forced to abandon their ancestral home after it was ransacked by these terrorists. But all the president cared about is the 2027 general election. Hunger and poverty have worsened under Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. World Bank estimates that a total of 14 million Nigerians have been thrown into poverty since 2023, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over office, to 2024. And this is caused largely due to the rising inflation and the removal of fuel subsidies. In addition to this, Nigerians' debt profile, which was already a concern before Bola Ahmed Tinubu tenure, has continued to grow alarmingly. Since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over office in May 2023, Nigerian borrowing has skyrocketed. Nigerian domestic debt has increased. Over 20 trillion raised through bonds and treasury bills. 2.94 trillion borrowed from the central bank in just 6 months in office. Total domestic debt hit 66.9 trillion naira by mid-2024. The foreign debt has also increased. $2.25 billion World Bank loan in 2024 for reforms and cash support was borrowed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu. An additional $3.3 billion oil-backed loan from Afrexim Bank. There are talks ongoing for a $5 billion loan from Saudi Aramco. Planned borrowing may reach $21.5 billion by 2026. Nigerian public debt soared from over 83 trillion naira before Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over office in May 2023 to 136 trillion naira. What this means is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has borrowed 49 trillion naira in 2 years in office. This is evidence of a man that is not ready for governance. This is evidence of a man that was not prepared for the job that he took. This is evidence of a man that has nothing to offer. Asking him to use the remaining 2 years he has to turn things around, like I said, is akin to when a man tried to pluck the star from the sky with his bare hands. It is practically impossible. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nothing to offer Nigerians. The only thing he has to offer is what he has given to Nigerians so far, and that is high debt profile, hunger, insecurity, inflation, instability, corruption, power consolidation, high price of commodities, poverty, hunger, election malpractice. Mention one thing that is working well under Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. Mention one thing that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has even tried to show that he wants to change to make better. Mention just one. There is none. Absolutely none. We must hold grudges against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We must hold grudges against this government. We are going to go into the pool in 2027, bearing in mind all we have experienced under him, and we must ensure that we vote him out of office. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.